Hello, fellow humans. Welcome back to the Scrublords channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. People who have never watched my channel before, I want to get some things out of the way real quick. I don't hate these people I'm responding to. I have no hate towards them. Zero. Making this video purely because they get a lot of things wrong in their video, which I understand. I get it. So, I wanted to say that. I wanted to say if anybody watches this video and you're a Boruto fan, do not go hate on them. Respectfully tell them or criticize their video, right? I wanted to say that, okay? A couple other things for background. I've been a Naruto fan since I was in 5th grade. I'm currently 18, alright? So I like Naruto. I know my Naruto stuff. It's my favorite, anime/TV show. It's my favorite manga. I'm not saying it's the greatest thing ever made. Naruto itself has its problems, but I just want to say I am a huge fan of Naruto. I also am a huge fan of Boruto. I read the manga, I watch the anime. I like Boruto. Does Boruto have problems? Yes. Everybody you meet will say that. Boruto has problems. It's got a bit of a rocky start. It takes a while to get to the actual plot in the anime. The manga doesn't really build on a lot of the characters, and there's a lot of cut stuff, right? There's a lot of issues with Boruto, but overall I enjoy Boruto, right? Now, one other thing. I'm not very good at editing, and I believe this video will probably be long. So, if the editing is bad, I apologize. I'm gonna get that out of the way, alright? With that being said, let's get right into it. Oh, I wanted to say this, alright? Or I wanted to start this section off here with saying, like I said last section, or the last minute, I'm not very good at editing. So to make my life easier, to make this editing easier, I'm stopping the audio recording and then restarting when I have new things to say and different things to respond to. I will also play clips of theirs later. Real quick before we get into any of their actual criticisms, I wanted to say there's a difference between objective and subjective criticisms. Most of this video is subjective, which is fine. If they don't like Boruto, that is completely fine. I have no issue with that. But personally, from my viewpoint, making a video like this, it should be objective criticism solely, or at the very least, if you have subjective criticism in there, you should be like, this is subjective, but yada yada yada. They don't really do that. I mean, it's very obvious it's subjective criticism, but they try to write it off as like this whole video, they try to write it off as Boruto is bad, and here's why. And then they'll say something that only pertains to them three, or only pertains to a certain side of the community, and doesn't pertain to another side of the community. Which again is fine, but that doesn't mean Boruto is bad. That just means you don't like it and it's not for you. Now, actually getting into their criticisms, I don't really know their voices or their names. I've only watched a couple videos from all of these guys before. They all pretty much confirm that they don't really keep up with Boruto at the beginning. And I feel like when it comes to this sort of topic, you have to you have to at least have done your research, which is very clearly evident, and I'll show you evident that they didn't do research. But they all say they don't really keep up with Boruto, or they only check back in on Boruto every 4 to 5 months, and they don't watch the anime stuff. So right off the bat, they have already not invalidated their entirety, the entirety of this video, but they've invalidated good chunks of it. Alright, real quick, I want to say I've tried to do this take 3 times, 4 times now. There's audio in the back. Sorry, people at my house. They're doing work stuff, working in the yard. Whatever. I apologize. It is what it is. Real quick, throughout the entirety of the video, or the parts that I watched, and before anybody comments, oh, you didn't watch the full video, you're damn right I didn't watch the full video. It was draining my life essence. No offense to them. I do like some of the other content these content creators put out, but it was draining my life essence because, like I said a minute ago, they very clearly haven't done their research on Boruto, and that was killing me. So I don't see why I should do my research on the entirety of the video. I watched about half of it, and I said, that's good. I'm fine. But they're like, throughout this entire video, they say they are mad that, or they make it seem like they're mad that Boruto isn't about the blank period or about other things and stuff like that. And I understand the frustration, because I think it would have been cool to see the blank period as a show, or a set of movies, like 4 movies about the blank period that are canon, right? Kind of like The Last, but more of that. I would have liked that. However, we can't, and when I say we, I mean like everybody. You cannot objectively criticize Boruto for not being what you expected it or wanted it to be, because that's not how fiction works. And if that was how fiction and media works, then you wouldn't be able to like anything. I'd be like if I watched Lord of the Rings and I got mad at Return of the King because Frodo doesn't die at the end. I'd be like, well, it's dumb. Frodo doesn't die. I'm taking points off. I hate Return of the King because Frodo doesn't die. Now, it's not the greatest example, but that's kind of what it is. I hope people watching understand my point. So, I want to say this again, real quick. I'm not making this video to hate on them. And if you three are watching this video, I do not mean this as a hit piece. I'm not trying to be. If I sound or come off rude later, that's not me trying to be rude. It's just some of the things you say in this video are kind of dumb. Like you guys saying Boruto doesn't have a motivation at the beginning. He does. Just because you don't like the motivation or don't remember it being there doesn't mean it's not there. Boruto's motivation at the beginning of the show is to basically, on the outside to the world, it's to stick it to Naruto and just like live his life. But on the inside, he wants to earn the love and respect of his dad. And he wants his dad to treat him and his mom and sister better. That is Boruto's motivation for the first 60 or so episodes, and then he slowly grows and changes and evolves. You guys also say there's no reason to watch the show because his motivation doesn't exist. But that's untrue, as I just stated. He has a motivation. Whether or not you like it, that's up to you. But the reason to watch the show is the stinger at the beginning. It's Kawaki versus Boruto. Or that's the reason at first. Obviously, the reason changes when you grow attached to the characters. But they give you that stinger where they show the Leaf Village destroyed. They talk about Naruto being sealed. They talk about the Age of Shinobi over. That is the hook. That is meant to hook you so you stick around while you get attached to the characters. And then when you get attached to the characters, that's the other hook. I just wanted to say that. Get that point out of the way. From now on, I'll actually be playing their clips. So let's get into that, I guess.
Given to him by Toneri, alien god, for some reason. For some reason, Toneri gave it to him.
Yeah, like,
not
why did
Naruto.
he...
By Toneri, because he's the son of the Hokage. He also has a crazy eye given to him by Toneri, alien god, for some reason. For some reason, Toneri gave it to him.
Yeah, like, why did he pick Boruto, dude?
Why Boruto and not Naruto?
So I just played 2 clips. One was from Clyde's video and Set the Programmer Kage's video talking about how Toneri gave Boruto the eye, the Jugen, and he should have given it to Naruto or Sasuke. And then I played a clip from the Boruto show that just proves that. Toneri calls it your eye, and stuff like that. And Toneri doesn't give Boruto the eye. He doesn't show up to Boruto and rip out his eye and implant a new one, or poke him on the forehead and bam, now his eye is special. Boruto was born with the Jugen. Toneri showed up and told him in a dream about it, slightly. He doesn't even really reveal anything about it. He's just like, that eye will come in handy later, Bye. So I wanted to say that. This is basically strike 2 for this video of you guys not researching or going into your points, because you say at the beginning of the video that you have some talking points because you are all going to individually make your own videos, and that's fine. But I want to stress again, if you're going to talk about things, do your research beforehand. And this isn't me saying you don't know the Naruto universe, because I know all 3 of you love Naruto probably more than I do. But clearly you did not go into detailed research about Boruto, which I believe you should have before making a video on why it sucks.
Kakashi put together almost, and
and with none of the internal struggle, right? Because Boruto doesn't really have to worry about anything, you know.
So, right there, you guys just said that your complaint is that Boruto doesn't have the internal struggle that Naruto has, because Naruto has the nine-tailed fox and everybody hates him and he doesn't have any friends. And that's true until a point. Now, if we're strictly talking about the beginning of the show, yeah, he doesn't have that internal struggle because he's a different character. Boruto is not the same character as Naruto. They're not trying to make Boruto the same. They go lengths out of their way to show you they are different. They respond to situations differently. Their power levels when each of them were a kid were differently. Everything about them is different. The show is not trying to be Naruto but repainted so they can basically resell Naruto and make more money. That's not what this is. I will say also in response to this, later in the series with Momoshiki, Boruto has a lot of internal struggle, but we're going to get into that later, so I just wanted to say that. And then we're moving on to the next clip. Now, with this part, I didn't play a clip because these guys talk about it a lot in the video, so it's hard to find just specifically one clip, and I didn't write down times. I should have wrote down times, but I want to say I agree with them on this point that the Boruto villains aren't as well built up as a lot of the Naruto villains. Now, this isn't me saying there's no build up in Boruto like they're saying, which is untrue. A lot of the villains are built up. Now, I want to say, because Boruto's in a bit of a weird situation. The manga is just kind of getting the plot. You just get a lot of the plot and a good chunk of the character development. But you don't. It's hard to explain, but you don't get a lot of the in-depth stuff, and then they leave the anime to do that, and then the anime does. So, if we're talking about the Boruto manga, yes, the villains aren't as built up. But if we add the anime into the mix, and you watch the anime and read the manga, they are built up. They say in one clip that Momoshiki and Kara aren't really built up to. Which, if we're talking about the manga, yeah, there's some build up in the manga, but not as much as there is in Naruto, and not as much as there should be. But if we're talking about the anime, there is. There's countless episodes and clips where, they talk about Kara and what Kara is, and they're trying to find more information on Kara. And before Momoshiki showed up and they beat Momoshiki, there was countless episodes where, they were there's the episode where Sasuke infiltrates their castle and he fights Kinshiki. I think that's 20 episodes before Momoshiki shows up and stuff like that. And that's not a lot of build up, but that's some build up, and they're building towards the big climax of that arc. So just wanted to say that, where I agree to an extent with what you guys are saying, but I don't agree fully. I really wanted to say that because not a lot of people, a lot of people who respond and make response videos on YouTube don't talk about everything they should talk about, and they leave stuff out, they leave context out. That's not what I'm trying to do here. So I just wanted to say this. I agree to an extent about the villains in Boruto.
Actually do anything about him. So all of the main villains in Naruto felt like they were entrenched in the world and the lore before the main cast had to actually confront them. And then Momoshiki and Kinshiki just show up. Your reception is expected to be the same as it is for these other characters. It's just really stupid. And
no, I fully agree with what you're saying. It definitely rubs off how you remember when Raditz first arrived on Earth, and then he's more Saiyans are coming. But instead of having that anticipation, it's more insert the next guy wearing white that's an alien to come.
So again, here they're kind of talking about the villains, but I wanted to bring this up and ask if you guys are watching this video, or fans of you are watching this video, have the same idea as you and can respond in the comments. What do you mean by this? So obviously here they mention that to them it's slightly like Dragon Ball, where in Dragon Ball, obviously, Raditz shows up. Excuse me. Raditz shows up, and then he's like, yeah, well, you guys are going to lose because more Saiyans are showing up. I don't really understand how that's... I don't understand how what Boruto is doing makes it worse, considering they're basically the same situation. Kaguya shows up, and then they tease that there are more of her, which, if you stop watching... If you don't watch Boruto, you're not going to get that, obviously. Whatever. But when you watch Boruto, more of her show up. Momoshiki shows up, and then well, shit, there's more of them. Because then Momoshiki leaves karma on Boruto, like he leaves and gives him karma, and then you find out that Kara is doing stuff with karma, and then you slowly find out that Jigen he also has karma, and Kawaki has karma, and all these characters have this. So this part's more of a question than it is a response, but I don't understand how it's any different from Dragon Ball, where, like I said, Dragon Ball Raditz shows up, and he's like, oh, more Saiyans are going to show up, you guys are going to lose. And then Boruto, it's basically the same thing, but a little more nuanced, I would say, because they go into it more, and there's a whole evil organization, and there's there's stuff to it. There's more stuff than just, they're going to show up, and that's it. At least I think. So, if anybody's watching this who has a response and thinks the same way, please comment and tell me, because maybe I'm missing something,
And it's kind of like, not only have you already set the tone of like, you have a literal alien, right, who that in itself already has problems with the story because it makes the actual like tone of the series feel weird, where it's like, hey, wasn't this initially about ninjas?
All right, I want to respond to this point, not necessarily just because they said it, or just because I fucked that take up. I'm not redoing this take. I've tried this like 7 times already. I'm responding to this point because a lot of people who try to hate on Boruto or say this, where they're like, well, Naruto used to be about ninjas, so clearly Boruto is not about ninjas because there's aliens and stuff. Naruto was never about ninjas. It was more about the idea of the shinobi and the will of the shinobi. That was like the extent of the ninja part. Because, yeah, they did like ninja tactics and they stealthed around sometimes. But almost immediately they start doing the first scene of Naruto is them talking about the Nine-Tails fox that got sealed inside Naruto. So already, and it's not like a small Nine-Tailed fox, right? Like, that's not like a misdirect or something. No, it's a massive kaiju level beast. And then they introduce, as the show goes on, they build up more kaiju level beasts. And then Madara starts doing he does all his stuff. And Orochimaru brings people back to life. So, I don't know. I don't really understand this point. And I never will. Another thing is, a lot of people are like, well, it used to be about ninjas and now it's about aliens. And while I get that, and I love the war arc for Naruto, so don't take this as me, shitting on the end of Naruto. But the end of Naruto basically just becomes, really overpowered kaiju level fights. And I think they're awesome fights, but it's kind of like, oh, damn, there's not a lot. The tactics kind of leave, right? Where it's just I'm just going to punch him or hit him with my Rasengan or my Chidori and he'll die. Whereas in Boruto, they kind of bring it back a little. The Boruto characters, specifically Boruto, Sarada, Mitsuki, Konohamaru, their sensei, Kawaki, they can't really do any of the kaiju level shit. They can't summon a Susanoo. They can't do the nine-tailed Kyuubi mode. And I would say Boruto is more about the tacticsy side of, or it has more tacticy stuff than the end of Naruto does. Not to mention, Boruto is about the end of the Age of Shinobi. It's about the evolution into the Age of Technology, and a prevalent theme throughout Boruto is, should the shinobi quit? Should there be shinobi anymore? Does the will of fire / the will to be a shinobi still exist? And the answer is yes, but that is a prevalent thing about Boruto, so I would say it not being necessarily about ninjas anymore makes sense with the themes of the show. I just wanted to say that. Moving on to the next point.
Of transitioning to a third part of the series is that if Boruto is so good, why is it that every time Naruto and Sasuke, the main characters from the previous series, appear, why is it only when they appear that it actually gets good? Because every time I see
So this part, talking about Naruto and Sasuke, is another thing a lot of people who don't like Boruto or just want to hate on Boruto bring up, where it's As they said in the video, oh, well, every time Boruto is mentioned, it's because Naruto and Sasuke exist. That's just untrue. The biggest prevalent thing, or the two biggest I can point to now, are, I mean, there's a lot of examples actually, but just recently speaking, you have Kawaki versus Garu or Gara, I think. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but that fight, which was amazing, everybody loves that fight. There's Konohamaru versus Jigen, right? And those are technically old characters, but still it's not Naruto or Sasuke. There's Team 7 versus Boru. That just happened. Boruto versus Ao. Or Ao. I don't know how to say his name. Whatever. There's a lot of incidents where this is disproven, but they never point to those. And I mean, I understand, like, a lot of the stuff that happens, Naruto and Sasuke do show up. But also, you guys mentioned this later in the video, it wouldn't make sense if Boruto could beat Momoshiki on his own. Nobody, even I would not like the show if Boruto all of a sudden was god level power and beat Momoshiki on his own. So Naruto and Sasuke have to fight him. That's just how it works. That, like, in universe, that's how it works. It's how it should work. So that's my response to this, because like I said earlier, this is thrown around a lot, like this criticism of Boruto. I think this is one of the most just wrong things you could ever say about Boruto. So let's move on to the next point.
Sasuke versus Deidara, because I think that speaks to something else that Naruto does well, which is the arcs for the main characters. Boruto and them they haven't really gone through a whole lot of like transformative character growth, and it even.
So I want to mention this part real quick because it's just untrue. Like I said earlier, I'm going to be talking about anime version Boruto, all right? For the most part of this video, or for the rest of this video, when I talk about Boruto, I'm talking about the anime, because technically speaking, you are supposed to take the stuff you learn from the anime and apply it to the manga knowledge. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. So if anybody who doesn't like Boruto and is trying to or doesn't like my video and is trying to hate on me by bringing it up, oh, it's not mentioned in the manga. I know, I'm done talking about the manga. I mean, I'll bring up the manga, but I'm not talking about that version. Talking about the anime version, and it goes for manga version here too. This is just untrue. Boruto grows and changes as the series goes on, always, but a big thing is he starts as a brat and he becomes not a brat. And then he slowly grows and gets new changes and ambitions. Sarada hasn't changed a whole ton of a lot, which I agree with. I think they bring this up in this video. Sarada doesn't change a lot. But Mitsuki or Mitsuki, I'm not sure. I always say Mitsuki. I don't know if that's how you're supposed to pronounce the name. But he changes a lot in the anime, especially. He doesn't do a lot in the manga, which is a bit unfortunate. But anime Mitsuki changes a shit ton throughout the entirety of this anime's run. And Kawaki alone, who's been introduced into the manga recently, or not recently, but like more recently, right? He's already changed. He's already started changing in the anime. Kawaki's like going through character development in the manga. So saying that these characters don't evolve or grow or change is just false. So I just wanted to say that and get that out of the way. The clip I played here was short, but moving on to the next point.
Very big moment for Naruto and everyone.
Yeah.
So they try to like kind of do that with this like other fat. What's with them in fat Kara, whatever. So they have this fat Kara guy. Yeah, this fat Kara guy like blocking a seal, and then they all team up on him and beat like a Kara fucking Otsutsuki level god threat as children or something to save Naruto.
So right here is again, I clearly they know a little about this part, about the Boro fight, but clearly they either forgot how it ended or like didn't care enough to mention it. But Team 7, or the like reformed Team 7, do not beat Boro. They attempt to fight him and they do a somewhat decent job. Boro, I want to mention, is also not Otsutsuki level. He's not as strong as Jigen. I don't know why you say that. He's very clearly not that strong. But in this fight, they pretty much lose for the first half of it. They have to retreat, they're poisoned, they're beaten, and the only reason they win is because Boruto, Mitsuki, and Kawaki distract him long enough so they can find his weakness, which is the core inside of him, which keeps him stable. So Sarada can destroy it with its Chidori, right? That's what happens in this scene. That's not them beating him. He doesn't die there. They lose after that. They destroy his core, and then his body freaks out and like morphs because he's an android, and you need the core to stabilize his android parts and the rest of his body. And once his body morphs, they all get their ass beat. The only reason they make it out alive and even rescue Naruto from this scene is because Momoshiki takes over Boruto's body so Boruto doesn't die. They don't beat Boro. They severely lose. They overcome it. Saying they beat Boruto would be like saying you beat Ganon, or saying you beat Ocarina of Time because you beat Ganondorf, but you never beat Pig Ganon. They like you're leaving out the second part of the boss fight. You don't beat the boss because you beat the first part. You still have the second part to go, and they severely lost, like I said.
Because of two things. They say, for one, because the next generation always surpasses the last one, and two, and two, because Boruto's supposed to start at the top and then go to the bottom. So here's the problem with that one. The problem with that one is Boruto doesn't start at the top and then go to the bottom. He gets stronger.
So that was a long clip I just played, and I want to talk about 2 points in there. The one being, now they make fun of people who like defend this point or say this point where like the next generation is always stronger because they're talking about why Boruto is so strong. But it's true though. And one of the points I want to bring up, because I don't want to be here forever, is Minato and Jiraiya, I believe, took like 3 to 4 years to master the Rasengan and to create the Rasengan, and Naruto learned it in a week. Jiraiya could never master Sage Mode, and I don't think Minato really could either. No, I'm wrong. I think Minato has it, but Jiraiya could never do Sage Mode. Naruto got Sage Mode. He perfected Sage Mode. This is what happens. The next generation always surpasses the last one. You guys, nobody complains when Naruto surpasses Jiraiya and Minato because you guys like Naruto, and so do I. But how come when Boruto starts to be strong and he's getting stronger, it's an issue, and he's getting too strong? I hope you, anybody watching, like understands what I mean by that. And the other thing I want to mention is they bring up how people say Boruto has to start at the top, like strength-wise, and then they bring up how, well, he keeps getting stronger, so clearly he doesn't start at the top. I don't know if there are people you guys are talking to that say that, but I think you might have taken this out of, like, you might have gotten this wrong, at least from what I've seen. When the majority of the Boruto fan base, myself included, talk about him starting at the top, we mean of life. He's got a family. It's a good family. He's got money. His dad is famous. I mean, his dad is the leader of the village, right? He's got friends. His friends like him. His life is good. That's his top. His bottom is when the village is destroyed and presumably some of his friends and family die. That is Boruto starting at the top, going to the bottom journey. It's not him starting weak as fuck like Naruto and getting strong. So I don't know if you guys just didn't know that, or you've been talking to some weirdos who are like misrepresenting Boruto to you, but I wanted to get that out of the way.
One anyway, so like how does that even make sense?
Well, like on top of that too, it's like what the like does Boruto have to deal with like consequence wise? Because the Nine Tails was.
So I want to bring up this point because they ask, what does Boruto have to deal consequence wise, and maybe they haven't watched the anime recently, or maybe they haven't read a lot of the recent manga chapters, but Momoshiki, because they're trying to say basically here, I think they say afterwards that Boruto doesn't have the consequences that Naruto did when Naruto's had the Nine Tails in him. Momoshiki is going to kill Boruto. That is the consequence. And what I mean by that is, for anybody who doesn't know, who doesn't watch Boruto, the way the karma works, which is Boruto's like curse mark that he has, is it is a like Otsutsuki, basically hard drive that they implant into you. And when it is fully done charging, I guess, or downloading its data, downloading its data is the better. I think they mentioned that in the actual manga. The Momoshiki can just turn it on, and then Boruto will die, and his body will turn into Momoshiki's body. that is the consequence of having Momoshiki inside of him. I just want to say that because maybe you guys don't know that, but again, it's not. If you don't know that, why are you making this video? Why aren't you researching before you make this video? That's like a question I have. Like, seriously, please. I don't care if you hate Boruto and want to make a video on why you hate Boruto. That's completely fine. Just research before you do it, or learn more about what you're supposed to be hating on. So this is about where I stopped watching the video. I don't really have any more points to bring up because I just don't want to watch the rest of this video and talk forever about the rest of this video because the video I'm making is already extremely long. It's going to take forever to edit, upload, whatever. And I also feel like, now I want to apologize if this video is not that great. Like I said, I've never made a response video before. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just not even really good at making videos. But I give it my best effort. And I feel like personally, I got my point across that you guys, it's okay not to like Boruto. I don't want to force anybody to like something they don't like. And like, more power to you if you don't like Boruto. You only prefer, you only want to talk about Naruto for the rest of your life. More power to you. But if you're going to talk about Boruto, please do research, watch all of the show, read all of the manga, be up on it. Like, just know what you're talking about before you spew stuff. Because the reason I'm making this response video is the thousands of people who watch your guys' channel are going to watch this video and they're going to get misinformation and they're going to think Boruto is worse than it is, and they're just going to think Boruto is bad, which, like, in my opinion, isn't. So that's why I'm making this video. Thanks for watching. See anybody who wants to watch my channel next time. Hope you guys enjoyed. So I fully planned on ending this video. This video was over. Excuse me, I had to burp. I'm sorry if it picked up on the mic. This video was over, and then Twitter kind of freaked out. And by Twitter, I mean like the Boruto community are kind of freaking out on Swagkage, Clyde, and Seth the Programmer because of all of the just not truthful things in their video. Not that it was necessarily their intent to spread mistruth, I guess, because I have some tweets on screen. I'll read it. Swagkage says, I was just being honest, I warned Clyde beforehand that I hadn't read the whole series, and he still asked me to record the video for his channel. So I figured, alright, yeah, sure, just gotta make sure to let everyone know I don't know what I'm talking about. Should I just have lied? Lamau, I want to say, if you've made it this far, any fans of you, Swagkage made it this far, I appreciate that you didn't just go in and say you read the full series and then lie. But I will say, in my opinion, you shouldn't have done this. Maybe talk about it with Clyde and Seth the Programmer off video. Talk about why you hate Boruto, whatever. But I'm pretty sure you have 1 million subscribers or near 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I could be completely wrong. If I am wrong, I'm sorry. I'm looking it up as we speak. But you have a lot of subscribers and influence in, just in existence. You do. You have 1,000,001 subscribers. You can't make a video like this and then just spread false things about the Boruto series. It's okay if you don't like it and you want to talk about why you don't like it, but I don't know. In my personal opinion, you cannot make a this type of video and then not know. You don't have to know everything, obviously, because that's impossible, but not know at least more than you guys knew. So there's another tweet I wanted to read. I'll just read him right now. So Seth the Programmer says, even worse for me, bro, got me in a call 20 minutes after I woke up and just jumped me with the, by the way, we're collabing. The video was just us explaining why we weren't very interested in the series. Obviously, we weren't avid watchers or narrative experts on it. And Swagkage replies, nah, people will watch this vid and come away thinking we watched the whole series and that we think it's bad from start to finish. Yes, they will think that's Swagkage because that's, I don't know if you guys didn't intend this in the video, but it comes off as you guys being like, this is objectively by Boruto is trash. That's like how your demeanors in the video come off and how you guys, like, your talking points come off. Nobody expects you to, like, know everything. Obviously, like I said earlier, you don't need to know everything. I don't know everything about Boruto. I don't know everything about Naruto. But you need to know enough. And I don't know, Seth the Programmer, I don't know if you aren't, like, just interested in it or not, but, like, throughout the whole video, you guys all seem like you kind of just desperately hate it and want other people to hate it, so you're coming up with, the way it seems, I want to say, is it seems like you're coming up with just falsehoods and lies to make Boruto seem worse than it is. And that's why the Boruto fandom is freaking out. That's why I've made this video. So that's it. Now this is the real end of the video, I think. So thanks for making it this far into like my epilogue, I guess. And then see you in the next video.